Welcome to Wild, Women in Lending Determined to Make an Impact. I'm your host, Robyn LaVassaur. They say our biggest fear isn't being inadequate. It's being powerful beyond measure. In this podcast, I will share how to break through imaginary ceilings, lean into success, discovering your purpose, and understanding how to create the business and life of your dreams. From failures to triumphs and all the tactics in between, let's jump into the wild arena together. Welcome back to Wild with Robyn LaVassaur. We are covering a topic today that can go in so many different directions, and that is, I'm calling this episode As Seen on Social. And I was actually laughing because my marketing team and my assistant literally were saying, that makes me feel old because we think of As Seen on TV. Well, me too. That's why I played on that title, As Seen on Social. Why? Well, it's kind of funny when you find a product when you were young. I don't know about you guys, but they even came out with full stores that were called As Seen on TV stores. Why? Because at one point they ran the infomercials when we were young, and that was our source for information, right? When you think about it, we were newspaper and radio, probably radio first. I don't even know the order of those two things. And eventually it became television. And television kind of took over the world. And that's where you learned about products and started to learn about people. And it made you notable, if you will, maybe famous or infamous based on what was happening on TV. And so social has really taken the world by storm, little by little by little by little. And what's crazy about it is that the SEO, meaning where you land right on the searches, essentially is so high for social media that's the first place that generally people find information about you. Here's the beautiful thing about that. You control the narrative. You control if there's a zero narrative, if there's a negative narrative, if there's a inconsistent narrative, if there's a positive narrative. All of that is something that you ultimately control. And even if you started the book the wrong way, the next page, the next chapter is 100% up to you, which means you can get in the game at any given time. One of the things about social that I realized, and just to get a little bit vulnerable, is that it's so easy to get hung up in how many likes did I get? How many people saw it? How many people clicked on it? How many people commented? Did I get anything back from it? And one of my favorite books in business in general, if I had to pick two books that I would say probably changed the world in general, especially for me in lending, but in life, it would be The Go-Giver and The 4 Agreements. And The Go-Giver, I'll do a whole podcast on that actually. It's going to be fantastic. But the Go-Giver mentality is that you're constantly looking at how you can serve others without, wanting to serve yourself first. Social media can really reverse that role. And what it can do is make you, even though you feel like, hey, I might be giving content, we'll talk about this in a business setting overall, content updates, even on life in a personal setting, I'm giving all this information out. You're really often looking for validation. And I'm guilty of it. I think we're all guilty of it if we're being honest. But that can sometimes determine, because we're so focused on outcomes, determine whether or not we remain consistent, whether or not we do more, whether or not we're willing to play at a higher level. And that creates a resume, right? Oh, I'm not getting enough attention, so I'm not going to post. Oh, I have a good enough post, I'm going to post today. I'm not going to pay attention to anybody else, but I'm only going to pay attention to myself and what I do on there in hopes of getting that return. There are so many things about social that can be daunting, honestly, from an emotional standpoint, possibly an ego standpoint, right? Fear-based, those types of things. So how do you tackle it strategically? Well, here's some steps that I can give you when it comes to social in general. One, either be there or don't. And I would tell you that about anything that you do in your business and in your life. It's either a hell yes or a hard no. It's one or the other. And so when you think about your calendar, social media, different things, you're either saying, I'm all in, and maybe sometimes that's fully out of obligation, if you will, or I'm not in, I'm not doing it, period. Now, social can be delegated. There can be some things that you, take yourself out of the equation. But if you're going to be in, be in. And I have been guilty of the inconsistencies as much as anybody else and the burnout. But really the burnout comes from me gauging results way more than it comes from doing the activity. I never burn out from doing the activity. I love to do the podcast. I love to share something about my family or a video or those kind of things. It's when I get in my own head and make it about me again that I get incredibly lost in the joy of it all, right? Results focused, journey focused. Journey focused, never worried about the results, tons more joy. Outcome focused, results focused, a lot less joy, much more fear, much more me type of mentality. So what are we going to do to tackle social? Here's what I would tell you. Pick your platforms. Know that LinkedIn has one of the highest SEOs. And if you are not on there, that's crazy. If you ever want to build a team, you ever want to work for another company, do great at the company you're at, build a branch, have somebody wanting to come work for you, mentor, shadow, anything like that, LinkedIn, Googling someone's name, it's one of the highest pops basically in SEO. And it's so quick and easy to get a visual resume and literally see a picture. So if your picture's outdated, update it. People should be able to recognize you. I used to joke all the time, random little side note story about real estate agents. And they used to advertise in the newspaper. That's how old I am and how long I've been in this business. And they would put their picture for the $1 Million Club. It was always posted in our local newspaper. And you would see people and not recognize them by picture, but then you'd read the name, be like, no way, that's so-and-so. Well, yeah, but that was their picture from their 1980s glamour shots. And it's currently almost 2000 or past the year 2000. And they'd never updated their picture, i.e. maybe don't enjoy aging, maybe never got around to it. In this day and age, present is necessary. People want to see and know who you are. And there are a lot of things that people do, no different than dating or anything else. Hey, what's the visual resume of this person? And so if all of your social is personal, no business, they might see you differently than if you have a mix of things, right? Both business and personal. Some people want it to be all of one, but I will tell you everything that I've ever tested personally, true business pages don't do very well versus a mix of life pages. Life should be, hey, I'm living a passionate and full life. And if someone's going to identify me on social, they're going to see all the widgets that I essentially represent. And they're going to see them not always perfectly in balance, but they're going to see a representation and get a pretty quick feel for who I am. So present picture, solid activity. That might mean that you post twice a week like clockwork. What's a post without pain? Let's talk about that. So many people are posting. I see it all over lending and real estate, especially accolades. I just funded this. I just closed this. I just did that. I just did this. And I think every single one of us would admit it's almost like getting a postcard in the mail. It's not thought about a second time and it's literally thrown into the recycle sometimes just like that. Why? Because it really is about them and the outcome with nothing about the journey. And so social, just like any influence in general, is meant for stories. It's meant for metaphors. I was very nervous about it, but just did a Instagram, and I don't know why I was nervous actually, but maybe it's because I was driving, but I literally just did a live video on Instagram or a story post or something and told a quick story. I've gotten more interaction about the story. It had nothing to do with me, had everything to do with what took place that I encountered. And it was a real life story, right? With struggles and awareness. And all of a sudden, right, that engagement goes up. If all I was posting all of the time was, I just closed this loan. I closed this many loans this month. Here's my 5 or 6 or 7 or 8 or 9 or 10 5-star surveys. At some point, people would be like, we get it. You're perfect. You're successful. Blah, 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 right? Nobody wants to see all of that. They want to see real. And I think that social is actually pushing people hard to how do you get more real on social media? I'll tell you what, loans are hard. Real estate is hard. Declines are hard. Rate shoppers are hard. But how many people are telling those stories every day? Not always just in hardship, but in how they overcome, right? What they're doing. What's more knowledge to be given? What are the challenges in general to buying a house? What are the myths? And what are you doing at your level, right, to help people overcome them? There are so many things that you can talk about that actually lead with pain in the post. And pain is so much more relatable than perfection. And perfection, while people want to applaud and say Yahoo and good job, a whole huge dose of perfection gets old, unfollow. Huge doses of the same things over and over again. If you want to be seen for a variety of things, you can't be seen for everything, right? It's not like you're going to have 100 different personas on social media, but you should have a pretty clear picture of who you are. And so I think, hey, what is my identity, right? What do I want to represent? I love being mom boss, right? You guys know me for that. And so you can affiliate, hey, what is that for me? I love being mom boss because I was told by 2 different people that I ruined my career once I had kids, and that I would never be able to balance and be basically a great mom, a great assistant, a driver towards the next level in my career, and keep it all together. And that couldn't be farther from the truth. So I love to represent that pain, that overcome, and now hand that, pay it forward, if you will, back to other people. So people would know me as mom boss on there. They would know me as a wife, right? Everybody knows I'm a Christian. I love Jesus. People would know me as a leader, somebody that loves the team, the people that I work with every day, loves the company. I've been with the same company for 14 years next month. So in October, I'll be 14 years at the same company. I love the company. I love who I work for and with. I'm passionate about coaching. I coached for a very long time. I tell you guys things not so that you can learn all about me, so that hopefully you're thinking, who am I? Who am I on social, and what do I represent? And do people ultimately choose to work with somebody based on those personas? Well, I would challenge you guys. The answer is probably yes, because right now, if you're a Democrat or a Republican and you see someone right at the edge of an election posting a ton about the opposite of you, does it make you want to do business with them or not? I'll tell you, most people make decisions emotionally rather than logically, which would mean, hey, you're not on the same team as me. I'm staying away. Like, I'm not going to, since you're putting it out there, I'm going to use it as one of my bases for making a decision about working with you. I'm going to use it, right? Since you're putting it out there. So religion, that can be a very big topic in general. I personally want my Christianity out there. I want my faith in Jesus out there. Therefore, it doesn't bother me if somebody were to say, I'm not going to work with her because she's a Christian. That's an okay thing for me. But I don't put politics out there at all, right? I definitely am married, have those 5 amazing children, love being rah-rah grandma, showing balance in life and in business. Empowerment to women is a huge widget for me. Some fun ones. I love French bulldogs. If you ever thought about sending me any French bulldog stuff just by chance as a fan of this crazy good podcast, please don't, because I have more Frenchy stuff than I could ever, like, you tell somebody you want to collect something, side note, and people get crazy. So don't do that. But people understand, and those are mnemonics in business where, hey, here's the good news. I love Frenchies. People see something Frenchy, they send me a private message. I thought of you today. I thought of you. Oh, wait, if you think about me in Frenchy world, maybe you think about me in mom boss world, all of a sudden you need a home loan, and you've seen all of that intertwined, right? Intertwined into those other spaces. Now all of a sudden you're reaching out to me about home loans. And I can tell you personally, it happens all the time to me, all the time, on both LinkedIn, Instagram, and Facebook, simply because I'm very, very, very clear on who I am and what industry I am passionate about and in addition to the other areas of my life. Sometimes people will reach out to me, women in business, can we get together? Can I get some advisement from you? I love it. I get to learn from them too. Other people will reach out and talk about, hey, I'm struggling with this. Can we talk about marriage? Or how did you find the church that you're at? There are all different things that come from social, and intentionally they can see the direction I'm headed, and they might say, I'm a step ahead. I'd love to connect. I'm a step behind. I'd love to connect, or I'm right there with her and I'd love to connect. Any connection on social is a great connection, especially when it is in the same direction of what your intentions are. And so if you're a lender, you're a realtor, you're in business in general, and your goal is to help more people, see more people, and be seen by more people and find those mutual connections, then use social media. It is a free tool at your fingertips to not only give people a resume and a representation of you and your life and share yourself with the world. But it's also one that you can take in other people's lives and share with them things that are going on for them, celebrate them, acknowledge them. And it's a quick way to do it. Does it replace human interaction? No way, never will. But it is a requirement going forward in this day and age to be able to Google someone's name and see them on different platforms and make a decision. You bet that is happening, and it happens every single day. Is everyone going to find their lender on social media or their real estate agent? Not a chance. But why would you miss the opportunity to be the one that they found if they do decide to look there? So do yourself a favor. Be as seen on social. Know who you are, what direction you're headed. Be clear in the choices that you make around the posting, being present and present day, sharing that pain, and ultimately having some fun with it with a go-giver mentality. We'll see you soon.